Thank you, Albert. I think that we succeeded in the main target, that Jews and Christians can pray and feel free and safe with praying together. I think this is the most important thing. For 20 centuries, it was a problem. Shalom, Copenhagen, Denmark. Good morning, shalom. As usual, the breakfast going to be a dinner. Michelle Bachman, co-chairman of Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, member of Knesset, Ohad Tal, and Michael Beaton, former member of Knesset, my old friend, and former minister, Moody Zandberg, member of Danish Parliament, Morten Messerschmidt, mayor of Copenhagen, distinguished guests. This is first time the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast here in Denmark, and I would like to thank Danish people for their fearlessness in front of the Nazis for saving the Jewish of Denmark. You are real heroes of Jewish nation. Thank you. Dear friends, we founded Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast for pray for the peace of Jerusalem, for pray for the peace for Jews, for pray for the peace of the nations around the world, to pray and to bring the prayers and peace around the world. We are always talking about the truth, about biblical truth. I would speak a few minutes about Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of UN. He said, after terror attack of 7th of October, that this terror attack did not happen in vacuum, making clear that all responsibility lies with Israel. That an anti-Semitic manipulation and lies. Of course, 7th of October did not happen in vacuum. It's happened with history of 2,000 years. But I don't want to go to history 2,000 years ago. I want to speak about this history, the modern history. It's happened because UNRWA educated Palestinians for decades to kill Jewish people because they are Jews. They took UN money, the taxes of the free world, of the people of the world, to teach Palestinian kids to kill Jews for decades. This is not vacuum. And you Guterres, didn't nothing about that. You still pay for that. You still pay not only for that. In all the structures of UN in Gaza, and not only in Gaza, we see it in Lebanon too, around the structures of UN, they establish terror infrastructure. This is not vacuum. You and your organization did not nothing about that. You know that they wanted to kill Jews and you did nothing about that. So this is not vacuum. Of course, this is not vacuum. And today, the Palestinian Authority continuing to educate kids to kill Jews, not only in Gaza, in Judea and Samaria, in historical lands of Jews. They explain them what and how to kill Jews because they are Jews. The UNRWA structures paid salaries for terrorists, 100, maybe 1,000. We have documentary about that. We gave them the documents, and they still want UNRWA continue their work against Jewish people. All UNRWA's platforms are the terror platforms. Even a few days ago, we saw some of the workers of UNRWA that he telling the story to the world, but nobody wants to hear about that, that Palestinian terrorists, Hamas terrorists, take their cars, their infrastructures, and use it for terror attacks against Israel, even today. So everybody talking about ceasefire with Hamas. We have very simple two conditions. Bring our hostages home. This is one. And Hamas should surrender. This is two. Very simple. And ceasefire will be immediately. Everybody in the world forget that this war started not by Israel, but everybody want to shame Israel about this war because we want to defend our people. That's what we want. We get them the money. We get out from Gaza to the inch, to the last inch. We get them all the land. And UN, USA, European countries pay the money to terrorist organizations to build infrastructure to kill Jews. That's all that they did. They didn't build Singapore there. They could. They didn't want. All what they want to kill the Jews. So as I said, we can stop the war immediately. There is only very simple conditions. Keep it simple, stupid. This is United States Army said, not? Very simple. But today we have a clear understanding what Hamas did. They did the order of Iran. They action don't have nothing about Palestinian problems, about Palestinian issues. Today we understand that the main target was to prevent the normalization between Israel and Saudi. Saudi, this is the state that really want to save the problem of Palestinians. Every day, when they start to negotiating with Israel, they're talking about Palestinian problems. But what Hamas did, they prevent the solution of problems by the attack in Israel. They prevent the normalization with Saudi. This is against the interest of Palestinian nation. And why? Because Iran is afraid of normalization between Israel and Saudi. Of course, this normalization, speaking about military support of United States, support of this agreement. So they gave the order to Hamas to use Palestinians for their targets, not to solve the Palestinian problem. The same thing they're doing with the Hezbollah in Lebanon. And they try to manipulate the international community. And the question is, why do international community want ceasefire in Lebanon? Why do international structures around the world want to save terrorist organizations like Hezbollah and Hamas? You know, I find only one answer. And the answer is to save the terrorist organization with Iran regime for one reason. It's to destroy Israel and to genocide Jews. I don't see any other reasons to save these regions, these organizations. Israel showed to the world that Iran and her proxies are paper tigers, and Western free world can solve the problem immediately and forever for all Middle East, and not only. We can solve the Palestinian problem and to free Palestinians from Hamas organization, from terror. They took 2 million Palestinians as hostages, not only our hostages. The real hostages with our hostages are Palestinians too, 2 million. In Lebanon, to free Lebanon from Hezbollah, there is 5 million hostages in Iranians' proxies. And of course, we can free the Middle East and the world from, and Iranian people, of course, from Ayatollah's regime. And what we see today, absolutely opposite actions. Today we see that international community want to keep the power in Iran's hands, want to keep Lebanon with Hezbollah hands, and want to keep Gaza Strip with Hamas. And the only target of all three sides of that is to destroy Israel, to genocide Jews. They declare it very clear and very openly. So, dear friends, I think this is the time that we have to speak. Everybody of us has their connection with their members of parliament, their members of and mayors and politicians and media people to change the situation, to explain the real things, to stop manipulating information against Israel, to talk about truth, to talk about real truth, biblical truth. It's not only political issues, it's biblical issues. We spoke about that a lot here, so I would like to ask you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, to the peace of Israel, to the peace of around the world, to free people from Ayatollahs, to free people from terrorist organizations, to be free in this world, to feel free and love with each other. So the very simple thing is to pray for the peace of Jerusalem and all around that. Thank you very much. And of course, I would like to ask you again and again to pray for our soldiers, to pray for our hostages, to bring them home. Thank you very much.